Let's get out our stamp, and it's this one. And you're going to want to use, if you're doing the same design I am, you're going to stamp it with black, and you're going to stamp it twice like I have here. Now you have a choice. You can use the same window frame and place it right over this and die cut it. I am just going to go ahead and use my craft knife and get those out of there. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to grab these. I am going to reserve these off to the side. I'm going to bring this over, and I am going to glue that down right on top of there. And right here. And that's how I did that. Now, you're going to go ahead, those two pieces I told you to reserve, you're going to cut them out, and we're going to place these on the inside. Now with your Martha Stewart lace, and the thickest one up at the top, you are going to snip a couple pieces here about this wide. We're going to have to trim this down anyway, but what we're going to do is we want the nice side showing on the out, so you're going to lay that down, and this is how it's going to look, just like this. And then it's going to fit on the window in between. So what I'm going to do, and for this you can do hot glue or that glue, and for a fast tack I am going to use my hot glue. If I can get it to work. Hello. There we go. I gotta be quick, this is a low temp. So just like this. Push it down. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim up the sides here. If I need to tack it down with a little more glue, I'll do that. Okay. Now for this glue, make sure that you flip this over. Make sure you have enough glue, that you're not running out like me. There we go. And we are going to get all the edges. And we are going to slip this, whoops, right inside where it belongs. And all you have to do is eyeball this, and it should fit right in nicely. Let's pull out those two pieces of 7x9 crafty cardstock. Okay, what you are going to want to do is grab your score tape, and we're going to sandwich these together to give it more strength. And I'm just going to go around here. And you only need to do one. You are going to run your score tape down here. It does not matter about the spacing. You're just going to eyeball it and do that. We're going to take this off. And you don't need to waste by putting it on the second one, that's for sure. Let's just funnest part of this whole thing is decorating it. I love decorating these. These are great. They're a fun little project. A Christmas one would be really cool. It's Christmas time, bring it out, put it on your table. Okay, so you do want to match up your corners, so my head may get in the way, because I do want to get pretty accurate here. Alright. What you want to do right now is you want to kind of bend it a little. Don't crease it. Just give it a little bend to help it kind of curl. If you want to roll it, you can to give it a little curl to help it. It kind of helps. Okay. If you want to do more decorating, now is the time to put some pieces in there. It makes it easier. I'm going to do it right after I install this. You will want to get your tie back out, and we are going to cut a strip and affix it. We'll want to grab our tie back, and what we're going to want to do is cut a 1.5 inch by 5 inch strip. Next, what we want to do is in the middle score it down, and that should be at 3/4. After scoring your piece of Tyvek, you'll want to fold it in half. And we are going to put score tape on this, but first I want to show you where this belongs. Here is the front. We want to grab the left side, and I'm going to flip this over. How this is going to play out here is the bottom half is going to adhere first to the inside. So this is what it's going to look like, and I've got my roof or lid here, and I have the paper I want to use for that, and I'm going to set that off to the side, but let's put this hinge on really quick. And I'm going to tilt it up so you can see a little better. I'm only going to take off one side of the score tape. And this is 5.5 inches wide, so and this is a 5 inch. So we're going to have some excess off to the side that you notice that the hinge doesn't hit side to side, and I didn't design it to do that. You don't need it. So with that being said, I have the sticky side here. I'm going to fold it over, so sticky's still under here. Here's the top. So I get a nice good, and I'm just going to eyeball this and put it in the center between the two walls. Flip that up and press it down. So now, as you can see, because our ridge is here and here, when this comes on, it's going to attach back so that the lid is going to be able to stop at a certain point and also come over. So putting this off to the side now. This is 7 inches wide, 9 inches tall. I wanted this for my inside, and so I'm going to cut this to be 7 by 9. I've got my piece cut. I am going to flip that over, and I'm going to put score tape around the perimeter. And I will clip off any score tape that overhangs because I'm tearing it. I'm not being precise by cutting off the ends. Now, because the hinge is going to sit and come up against that, we want to make sure we get enough score tape across here so that when the hinge does get on this, that this is tacked down really well and isn't going to pull our paper up. So, and I know it's going to sit like this, so I want to make sure that I get some. And in a minute, I will tell you how far I'm coming up. I just want to make sure that I don't miss it when my hinge is somewhere over there. So, and then of course, on this side, I'm going to do the same, because on the other side, I just want to keep it even and durable. And one more time. Make sure that when it is folded, it's going to have enough stickies to keep the inner part from bagging down. So that should be plenty. I came up down here, it's about 1 1/8 from the bottom, and started doing 4 rows. And then of course I just kind of eyeballed for the middle. And this side, it really doesn't matter on the too much up there, but you do want to get some 3 rows in between the points here. Time to remove this, and all I'm going to do here is just remove the score tape, and I'm going to match up corner to corner, and I'm going to press down, make sure it's all down really good. I've got mine down, and I started to just give it a quick little roll, just a little bit of one to help, because it is going to flop on over. So I've done that. Now, again, let's take a look at how it's going to play out, because we will put a strip down here as well. But we need to get it centered and even before we do anything. And you may see a couple lumps here. I don't worry about it, because my other paper is going to go on top of here, or if I'm using fabric strips to make shingles, you're not going to see it. Okay. This is a 9-inch piece. 4.5 inches is your middle line. That's what's going to keep us with the top being centered. It helps me. So I made a mark here at 4.5 and 4.5 down here. I'm going to draw a line. So any way that I look at it, from the back, the front, I'm going to see this line right now, so that it will help me with centering. So you are going to have, and it's approximately, because we are about 5.5 inches across the top. Okay, and this is 7 inches. So if you do the math, you're going to be about a 3/4 inch hangover. Well, about an inch actually. 3/4 inches from the front and the back is what I mean. I'm getting turned around. I'm going ahead of myself again. Okay, so you'll have about a 3/4 inch overhang from the front and the back. So what I do is just measure that and make a little mark here. And I'm going to go erase that in just a moment. So if that is at the top and in the middle, I want to make sure it's kind of straight going all the way down. I'm going to flip this and find my mark where I've marked it. My mark is right here. So I know that I'm going to try and line that mark up first. Keep it straight. And then once I know it's there, I'm going to make sure that roof is straight with that line, which I am. Okay. Then all I'm going to do is flip it around and draw a pencil line. Okay, on either side of where I need to be. And it may take you a moment to get used to this idea, but it will help. And I'm going to double check myself, make sure. And I just kind of flop it up here. There is my line, and I will erase that in a moment. Another way is, and I should have told you this, is with the pencil, is draw a line all the way down each side, because we are going to erase these pencil marks. And that way too. Get that as straight as possible. I think it's right about there. Okay, and this might be better way for you. I've done these so many different ways that just kind of lining up the sides there where you need to be and finding that bottom. So if you were sitting at it, I should be somewhere around here. If I was to flip it up like this, where it's supposed to be, and then come around and take a look, am I still in the center? I am. And that's how we're going to go ahead, and once we have it in place, is we're going to grab a hold of it, making sure we are even on both sides, and then we're going to take off the score tape, recheck it, and then we're just going to flap it down. Okay, now I've verified mine, and I'm going to go ahead and line up. First, I'm going to remove the score tape because it's time. This may be one of the more difficult ways. You can always attach little hinge things, I'm sure, a different way, but me, I just do it like that. Okay, so pencil marks, lining up my sides here. And if you're a little off at the top, it probably isn't going to matter much. If it's a lot, well, you may have to take it back off and realign. I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to come over to the side so I can see what I'm doing. Here's my pencil mark. Here's a line here and a line here. And I'm going to probably get my head in the way. And I'm thinking that that is where I need to be. Right around here. Alright, so I've got mine down. And I am going to put my score tape down. Now let's see. I'm still centered there. And I'm looking good this way too. That hinges on, and remember, it's a flip up. It isn't going to go any farther. It's going to stop when this hits. So I'm going to cut a strip here, and I'm actually going to use the same color as the inside here to match up, and as well here. And then you can also do a trim piece, a decorative one around the side, which would be really pretty as well. So the pieces that I cut was a 1 inch by 5.5 inch. This is going to match my inside. And then to match my lid, I cut it was 1 1/8 up here by 5.5. Then what I've done is I have put score tape on the back, and I am going to place them now. And I think you can see that. And I'm just going to go from the top over here. Line that up all the way over and press it down. Make sure I got that down. Same thing with this. bring this back over. And hopefully my head does not get in the way. And I'll tilt it up. Hopefully I'll get straight. All I'm going to do here is just kind of line it up and get it as best I can and press it down. And there you have it for that part. Now what I'm going to do is cut my piece for the top. I did choose this color, so I am going to go ahead and do a 7x9 piece, and I'm going to put score tape on the bottom, and I will show you whereabouts I put it. I have got my piece cut, and I've got my score tape, so you can kind of see what I've done. You do not have to be exact in between the spacing of the score tape. I do have it around the edges, and then I just kind of went down gradually, spacing it out, and went ahead with that. So how this is going to do is, once I take the score tape off this, I'm going to, the best way to do this is to match up your front corner and then lay it on down, and make sure you kind of follow the ridge to keep straight. So while you catch up, I am going to pause the video here and make me some coffee. I could really use some. And then I'm going to take off my score tape and place it on the roof. Okay, it is time to grab our drits, our hook and eye. Let's get, what I do is I just kind of cut off a piece. I'll measure this for you, but I'm just going to estimate to start this off. Let's start off with a piece, and we can trim this up. And I'm about 4.5 inches long of our elastic band. This is a good time for us to get this going now so we can let it dry. And I had my coffee in my hand a moment ago. I seem to have lost it. And I do have my new glue. And I left the lid off, so I am going to unplug mine. This will adhere to resin, plastics, metals, everything. So you want a glue that's going to work on metal. Okay. I'm turning mine to the side. The lid is over here because it's going to latch down over on this way. And the best place that I found is right above your window, right here. So if you see, when this closes, we'll be able to bring that down and latch on pretty good. And I do need my glasses on. I can't see what I'm doing. Alright, so, whoops, a little heavy-handed here. And I'm going to wipe off the excess. So I've got my glue there. Make sure that this part, you're putting it on like this so that the lip is right here. And I am just going to, wow, I did really put on the glue, didn't I? Okay. Right there. And from my view, it looks pretty straight. I am going to clean up the excess there. We will need to let this dry. And that looks pretty straight to me. Okay, so while that's drying, what we can do is just kind of eyeball and measure up what we are going to need. Now, you don't want a whole lot of slack on this. you're going to want to have to be able to pull it so it slings back up. Okay, so I forgot to attach my little drits first, but you get the one side down, and you can use this glue and the hot glue to start tacking it down. You are going to want to string this through the little eyelets, pull it, and make sure that you have enough to be able to make it back and around underneath here. So being that said, I am going to start tacking this down, and it will get covered with paper, so I'm not worried about what I did. Oops. And I'm going to, whoops, re-tack that down and use my other glue. So I'll get that started there. And now my white glue, and let that dry for about 5 minutes or so. Okay, I did find my coffee, and hopefully it will help. Alright. Let's see how this works here. And it does latch. And it does hold down. Great. We can leave it latched or unlatched. Now I am going to move on to decorating some of the top with the rest of the paper that I wanted to use. And then we're going to start around here for the little fence around the porch and decorating the rest of this. We're almost done. Okay, so I have got this ready to go. I have mine latched. If you are following along with what I'm using here, then you're going to want to find these two. The back side was this. I used it for the floor. If you cut yours differently, grab from your paper pad and cut these two out. And these butt up at the top. In the middle. And all you have to do is just kind of look to make sure over here you're the same as over here. I'm going to place score tape around this, making sure down here where it covers part of the latch, I have extra, a couple rows going, 3 rows down here actually will do the trick. And of course you just need one underneath here and around the perimeter. And on this one, for this side, which is this, score tape around the perimeter and one down the middle. Okay, here is the front. This is the one that gets placed over here, the little house. This is what the score tape looks like. This is the peacock. It looks like a peacock. And this is what I did, being that this is the bottom. 3 rows around the edges and down the middle. And that's just going to be put on first, making sure I'm the same. And you don't have to measure it out. You can just kind of look to see what works there. Now, if you get it a little bit off on this one, I am running some Martha Stewart lace right down the middle, so it will cover up any imperfections. Maybe you didn't get it butted up close enough to the other one. So I'm going to take my score tape off and place the first one. And I think I said you'll want to keep yours latched while you do this. easier. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to come off to the side so I can see what I'm doing. And I think right here, and we'll find out as soon as I place the other one, and I really want to smooth it down over here near the latch. Start up here. I've got goo. All right. Easiest way for me is to just bring this up, matching it up, and folding it down. If you're using the same Martha Stewart pack as me, you'll find this one, and I am going to cut a piece that can go across the top, just like that. And then I'm going to glue it down. And I need to clean my glue gun. Seriously, it's gross. All that sticky stuff, everything sticking to it. Alright. I'll clean it here in a moment. But for now, I'm going to finish tacking this down. And I am using the hot glue on this. And I'm just pulling it straight. And that's on. For this one, I put in the back, but I have to cut it down to fit, otherwise it's too wide. So I'm going to cut this down, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like after being cut. I've cut mine all the way down, just leaving the first little frame around it. And I am going to actually use my glue here, because there's nothing that needs to be hanging off of it. Whoops. Go to the back, and I'm just going to place it right down. Like so. I've got a mess here. Mine's all coming off the little spool. I am going to cut a piece that fits right up across to the sides. I went ahead and glued this down. It's just from edge to edge here. This piece I cut in half, and it's right underneath here that I cut, and I am going to cut underneath. Like this. And then I'm just going to cut out the rest around. So I went ahead and I got this out. I am going to mount it on a piece of leftover paper. Okay, I'm showing that I cut a piece at 2 3/4 and by 1 7/8. I'm going to put glue on the back of this, making sure I get that little tip up there. And I'm going to bring the bottom of this to the bottom of this, kind of putting it right in the middle there. And all I'm doing now is just leaving about 1/8 of that blue backing and cutting around like so. And you don't have to measure to be precise. Just leave enough blue around there that it kind of highlights it. And then down here. This gets glued down right at the top there. Whoops. Okay, I got mine down. Let's go ahead and cut out. We'll finish up the rest of the decorating here in a moment. I'm going to clean up my hot glue gun a little bit. But let's get out our deep edge Martha Stewart punch, or whatever deep edge punch you're going to be using, and start with that. Okay, grab your leftover cardstock, and what we're going to do is, whatever you have on hand, maybe you already have some strips laying around rather than cut into the rest of the third page, but what we're going to want is some 3-inch strips, and it would be safe to say 3-inch by 5-inch, and we can trim that up. So I'm going to get two 3-inch by 5-inch strips. Go ahead and punch your strip on one side. And you'll do it for the other one. Okay. From this edge, I want you to measure over 1 3/4 and make a mark. On this one, you will measure over the same 1 3/4 and make a mark. Now you can use your score pal or do this by hand. I'm going to use my score pal to help me out here. Whoops, wrong way. And I'm going to score on that line on both of these. I got my line here. And this will just help me to be able to bend around. And then I am going to crease it. And sometimes it helps to use your tool. Get a good crease there. Okay. You're going to want to fit this around each side, like so. Okay, you got your crease and whatnot. Okay. Now what you're going to want to do, is I got notes on the inside of this one. I don't need any notes on this scrap piece here. Is open it back up. Get your score pal and your ruler. From the bottom, you are going to come up to 1 1/2. Make a mark. And 1 1/2. make a mark, and if you're folding by hand at this point, you're going to fold. I'm going to use my score pal, and I'm going to score right on that line, and I'm going to fold it. Okay. Move that off to the side there. Now you are going to want to get your scissors out and snip up, got a scraggly on there, and snip up just underneath that score. Turn mine over, it's easier for me. Okay. Grab your score tape, hold it, and run a piece on that side and that side, and down here. These are flaps that are gonna go and attach underneath. It just helps the little fence to grab better and hold up. So this is for this side. And as you can see, it will fold right around the edge. Now, I'm going to trim mine back, and I'm actually going to trim it so that it's only, place yours down and then measure from this corner up about a ½ inch, and let's slice that off. I'm going to grab my other piece. I got a piece of score tape hanging off the side there. And placing it with the hinges, and I'm going to do the same thing. So what I am going to do is grab a little bit of glue here. I am going to place the glue right in here and along the edges. So make sure I got some glue on that side. And right through here. If I need to add more, I will. It's time to take the score tape off. So the easiest way is to first make a little cradle like this. Set it down, making sure you do have some glue to catch. Set it down and bring it right on up and put it down and push in. And you can wipe off any excess glue at that point. You're going to want to hold it for a moment there. Now, I do another layer. I am not going to use the Crafty. I'm actually going to give it some color with the scrap leftovers of my pretty paper. So that being said, I'm going to get some glue on here. Actually, just go right on there. Stand this up. Now for me, I chose a particular color around here. If you wanted to use something else, you could. But I'm going to get this back out, but this time I'm only going to need about a 2-inch strip, and then I can trim it down from there. And I am going to use my leftover from the roof for that. All I'm going to measure is from the tip of this, and it looks like I need a 1.5 inch. So from the tip of this down to 1.5 inch, that's where I'm going to cut these. So I got my cuts, and at this point all I do is do the same thing as before. You can bend it here and do it by hand. Measure around, excuse me, measure around and cut it off about 1/2 inch in, which is right here for me. And then all I'm going to do is run my glue here, and I'm going to mount it right around the edges there. So that's all I'm going to do. Okay, I've got mine on. And if you don't match up exactly and have brown showing through, it actually looks kind of nice. Now at this point you can either repeat this whole process so that you have the trim for the inside matching the outside, or you can leave it just with the crafty, and I do that. I do both. So on this one I just left it with the crafty on the inside in there. I'm going to go ahead and for the inside, what I did is, out of the leftover from my roof, I measured out a 5 1/8 by 2 7/8 strip. I grabbed this piece and I put some glue all over that, and I kind of centered it just like so. I applied glue to the rest back here. Whoops. And I took this to give it some more dimension in here, and I just placed it right in here like so. And the wood's in the way, of course, so I just dragged it over and pressed it down. Now you can do a bunch of different things, especially if you're using the Once Upon a Springtime or the ABC Primer Deluxe Collector's Edition, because those come with a 12 by 12 sheet of the matching coordinating stickers, and also the matching coordinating chipboard. So on my other ones, I really took advantage of those and implemented them in. With this one, I just went about doing it like so. I'm going to latch this, and now we're going to grab our wagon wheels. Okay, flip yours onto the side, and how I've been doing these to get them accurate and level all the way across without one being down further is I actually, this bottom part here will actually go, the bottom of this middle part of the wheel is actually going to hit the bottom edge of your wagon. And from there, I measure out a 1/2 inch, which is right here, and then I know exactly where it needs to be placed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and so half of this wheel is going to have glue on it. I applied it there. So this part here matches up to there, Using my ruler, I'm about a 1/2 inch. Wipe off the back any excess glue that might have gotten out. Okay, so that wheel is on. The next one, we do the same thing by matching up the bottom of this inner wheel to the bottom of this. And this one gets placed with the outside at about a 1/2 inch overhang from the side of this. So it's the same thing. That's good enough there. So I do have to let this dry because it takes time to dry, just like with the metal. And then once I give it about 5 minutes to really grab, I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to repeat the steps here. While I was making this, I thought, you know what would be really neat to do is if you knew someone that was having a baby shower or a baby, that if you covered the wagon, and especially if you knew if it was a girl or boy, say it was a girl that they were having, to cover it in pinks and pastel yellows and white lace. And not only would that be the gift, but inside you can put little gift, those little baby powders, the shower or the baby washcloth, little things like that inside the wagon. And that would be a super neat gift for somebody to receive that is not only unique, but has a purpose. So I was just thinking about that, and I do know someone who's going to be having a baby here soon, and I may have to do that. I think that that would be neat, because once they took the shower gels and the baby shower wash, I think they're called baby wash, and the baby powders and little goodies inside, they could put it up on the shelf and implement that as part of their baby rooms decorations and so forth. So I just thought that would be kind of cute. And I'm gonna let that dry, and then once that's dry, then I can move on to doing some other decorating on this. Now the front staircase to the porch, that is the last thing we are gonna do. For the Delightful Daisy stamp, what I did was I stamped it twice for the flowers and once for each leaf. And then I die cut, of course, 2 of the sets and 1 of each leaf. And of course you'll die cut that out as well. Okay, for the ink color on this, you can use Toffee Crunch. If you want to go around the stamp pad, and let me pull it out here. If you're careful, what you can do is stamp just the leaves with the corner of the ink pad with Olive Grove, which is similar to like oregano or pesto in the Ranger brands. And I did do that with this. I went ahead and used the corner of this to get the some of these flowers, as you can see. I'm going to bring this up. And this is the Teal Zeal, and it also is the same as Ranger's Stream, very similar. But I did 1, 2, 3 of the blooms with this, and the other ones I just regular stamped with the corner for with the Toffee Crunch. And then what I did was I inked around the edges of them and kind of lightly colored them in with the ink dauber. These I went with the dandelion, and I did hit the edges of the ones with dandelion with the Toffee Crunch, and pistachio was the middle color for these. And then Winkastella goes all over it first. Then cover it with the glossy accents. Oh, in the branch here, I alternated. I did the toffee crunch, as well as smeared a little bit of the pistachio in with it to give it a blended color. Anyway, Winkastella all over. Then you're going to want to put a layer of glossy accents all over this. I did use liquid pearls for the middle. For the delightful daisies. Now I did several different things here, and I'm going to grab them out and show you. I'm also going to grab my leaves. Whoops. What I did here was I took 2 of the biggest petals. Then I took 2 of the next size down, and then 1 of the smaller ones. And I did ink around the edges with the teal zeal and lightly covered in. The Winkastella went on it, as well as the glossy accents. And then I embellished the center with a flat back pearl. And then with the rest of the leftovers, I did some toffee crunch and some little bits here. This is 2 layers, and I did one with the littler ones with dandelion, and the same thing on the leaves. I did stamp it with the olive grove first. I did go around some of the edges with the olive grove, inking them a little darker when I was done stamping, and die cutting. And then on the inside is the pistachio, and this was all covered with Winkastella as well as the glossy accents. Okay, the larger of the 2 leaves, I am going to use hot glue, and I'm going to place it just like so. The smaller one, just a little bit. And I'm going to place it like this, so it's slightly off to the side there. I am going to place my big flower right here. So what I am going to do is start layering this on. If you need to pause the video and get your die cuts ready, do so. Otherwise, package flowers. Let's go ahead and get on with this. This is the fun part. This flower, I'm going to place right here. Yes, I knew I was missing something. The yellow is going to be placed right here. This is the point where I stopped once I got these bigger flowers here, and I cut a piece of white flat back trim, pearl trim, and I am going to glue that down right here and snip off the excess. Now, whoops, I got my Tim Holtz bird cage out. I am going to go up underneath here. You could have done this first, but I'm going to snap a hole back here. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to find the seam on this and open it up. Loop this in through here, making sure I'm going the right way, and I'm not. I got me turned around. There we go. Now, loop that through and pinch it shut and get that. And I hung that off the back, just like that. Okay, next grab your Birds and Blooms stamp and what you did there. This one hangs right off the top. Now before you place that, we are going to want to do some snipping and hole punching, that is, and hang off our little jewels or embellishments right now. So I have this to use, and all I'm going to do is slip it right underneath, and this is one of those pins, stick pins, is slip it right underneath the lace, and I'm going to glue it down and you will not be able to see it. I'm going to turn this so you can see. So that is on there. I did want, and I have a couple of those like fish hook type earrings, and I don't use these anymore, and they are going to just go right on, just right there. So I do want to clip some holes, and to get them even on either side, I am gonna measure up how far I want to be, and I think I want to be about 1.5 inches up from the bottom there. And all I do here is do some, find 1.5 inches, and bring in my clipper and snips, whatever, and it needs to be in line now. I think that's where it's supposed to be. Better double check. Yep. And then 1.5 inches up from here is about right here. And I'm going to go ahead and slide these through the hole and pinch it closed. And do the same over here. There. If I could get this little earring to situate right. And pretty much that's the way it looks on here. Unfortunately, we have gravity, so that's what it looks like there. Now I can go ahead and fit my pretty piece right here, just like that. And I'm going to glue that down. So I've got that attached now. As you can see, that's really kind of cool. It's kind of coming down over the front. I did want to put this flower right up here, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Put that down. Here's the top. This is what it looks like. I did glue down. Whoops. Right there. I'm grabbing my Coffee Crunch one, and I'm going to slide it right there. And I'm going to place this blue one. Let's see, I think right there is where it goes. And then I had 2 left over here. And these are the 2 that I actually layered and slipped right back under here. Okay, these I do use a little bit of glue, and I just start tucking them in. And that one goes there, if I remember correctly. Okay. This one is going to go right back underneath here. Again, I'm just tucking this all underneath there. This one went right there. it down a little. There we go. There was a white flower used, and I'm going to place this last. I want to tuck one under here. And there was one tucked. I think that's how it looks, right back underneath here. Getting that all the way back in there. I used a little white rose, and that tucks right there. Let's grab our bling, and the first thing that we're going to do with the bling is put it right on our door all the way around. I got my bling on all the way around there. The next thing that we're going to want to do is put our bling on the back, and I started up here already, one across the top and one across the bottom down here. That is done. Now it's time to put the bling around the edges here. You will need to unlatch this and get it out of the way. And you're just going to start right up here and go down, snip it, and you'll go across, glue that, and up this way. Over here, you will get under your flower if you can, if not at the edge, and do the same thing going down here, over here, up to the leaf, and then in between there, and a piece here and here. That way you don't have to do, you didn't want to put the bling on first over here because it would bulge it out too much, and I wanted my leaf to really be able to just bend right on over and be more flush than popped out. Okay, so I've got my bling all the way around. The last bit of bling that was used in this project was bling is glued down to both sides of the pearl trim on the top. Just fold those back, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm able to back the camera up a little bit, but this is what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good. Now let's just go ahead and add our flowers up through here and our other embellishments and our flat back pearls. And then we can work on the staircase. Okay, the butterfly, I have snipped a piece of the bling, and I am going to stick that right in the middle of the butterfly. Oops, where did it go? There it is. Set that up to the side, let that dry. Grab 4 of your flat back pearls, and we are going to go ahead and put that in the middle of our wheels. That's good. And then of course I want to put the other 2 on this side. Grab your butterfly, we are going to put that down, and then we are going to let this dry. The flat back pearls are still drying. And I'm just going to hit some places. Let's see, it goes like that. Over here. And it's not going to hit on this side, so I'm just going to place that right like so. I'm going to hold it for a minute, or actually it might be easier if I just tilt the wagon so it will stay. And I can prop it up with something here like this so that it stays. It doesn't fall off before it has time to grab. And during this time, oh, I see some glue strings. Clean that up. I'm gonna give that probably about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start working with our miniatures. Okay, with these little pieces, all I did, right now I have the rusted watering can, and I stuck it in there. I am going to add a little bit of this glue down in here, like so. And to give it a quick tack so it has time to glue, I am going to hit the back side there with a little hot glue. I am going to grab one of these, and I am going to hit it with some hot glue there and stick it right on in there. And right on the front porch, it goes here, just like that. This one actually sits up in the corner, up against the wall. And I just hit it with a little hot glue down here because I do have something that's going to hide the bottom. And I'm going to stick it right back there. With this, I grabbed 2 pieces. And I am going to hit the back side with a little hot glue. And stick it in the little metal tub. And apply the glue to the bottom. And stick that right in front of the other. So it's like that. And I'll show you here in a moment once it's all dry. For the books, what I did was I kind of took them like this and glued them together. A little bit of hot glue will do it. And I stuck them down on the porch. Just like so. And I used the blue and the green. And you can turn them around so that if you'd rather have where it shows the, instead of the binding out. Okay, I did make up a couple more of these and just kind of stuck them inside and went with it like that. You don't have to. On this one, I did exactly like I did the one in the one I showed you in the beginning. So I am going to go ahead and fill that with a flower and hit it with a little hot glue back there to help it. I am ready to go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to glue this down and put one in the corner in there and place the other one in there as well. Flat back pearls right in between where your latch is. You can pull this up, but we're going to place a flat back pearl right in there. I like to do it when it's latched. Make sure that I don't get it where I'm not supposed to. Okay. Turning this around, I placed one on the other side, kind of to even it out. And my head may get in the way. I want to make sure I'm pretty even there. I think I am. The last two, and you want to be careful on this side with the drips, but they go right there where the window is. And you are going to want to make sure that when you put this, it's going to take a moment to do. You're going to leave enough room so that it does not catch your drits, so that it will, you can still grab your latch out of there, or your hook out of there. And my fingers are sticky, so I'm just going to place that there and let it dry, and then I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So this is, everything's glued down, as you can see. And inside. Welcome back. We are going to get our staircase built. So I've got some pieces here that I have done already for the staircase, because each time you make these, your staircase may be wider, or it's different every time. It all has to do with how wide you go through here, is how wide you need your staircase. So with that being said, I have, if you followed along exactly here, we were 1 and, I'm showing now with the sides up and everything, 1 3/4 in from each side. What you are going to need is 2 popsicle sticks, okay, and a scrap piece of chipboard. Now I will tell you, the chipboard that I need, this piece here just helps with keeping your staircase steady and giving it more support, and half of it slides underneath here, and then your first step, of course, is going to lay here. We're going to redo this based upon my little pattern here that I have, and I'm going to back this up just a little bit so you can actually see what I'm talking about. There we go. So what I cut here in the scrap of medium chipboard. Now if you don't want to use the popsicle sticks really quick, you can do it all in chipboard just by using the measurements here. I have a 1 7/8 across by, it's about 7/8 thick. Now what I'm going to do on this is I'm first going to glue this underneath, and making sure that I leave spacing on each side here, because this is where these are going to place. And you may want to wait on this and make sure that your pieces are both going to fit your sides, because that little notch in between here and here is where your railing going down, your stair structure, is going to slide in on each side. So I guess we will do this in just a moment, because I want you to make sure that you have the correct length before I have you start gluing. That's probably the best thing. So let's take our first popsicle stick. I'm going to have you right across where the, right across here, and I'm going to hold it up, where the rounding begins. I want you to go ahead and cut that. Now when you're cutting these, you're going to see some of them starting to splinter on you. I haven't had any of the pieces itself break apart, but if yours does, grab another, or if yours are, depending on how durable your popsicle sticks are, you may have to go with the chipboard staircase and everything. So we got that. I have here 1 7/8 step. So from the side here, I'm going to measure 1 1 7/8 and draw a line across here. And I'm going to cut it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this one, 1 7/8. And the staircase is going to take some patience. So if you don't have patience today, you might want to wait, because it always seems that if I don't have patience, it just isn't going to come together for me. So here's those. For these, let's grab our next one. And as you can see, I start to splinter here a little bit. It's still together. It's not going to fall apart because this part is still good. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do here, and I'm going to give you the measurements of this here in a moment, but I'm going to show you what I've done. Bring it up here. This tip here, we want to cut at an angle. So with that being said, I'll draw it out first. Just taking some of that tip off there. I think you can see that. Okay. From that point, let me go ahead and measure. From the tip to tip is 2 1/4. So from the tip, I am going to now zoom in just a little bit here and back the wagon up. That would be good. Okay. I think it was 2 1/4. It is. From the tip of where you cut, measure down 2 1/4. And then go ahead and just cut it at an angle, just like this. Okay, so it's 2 1/4 this way, and from the edge that is more indented, I've got it's about 1 3/4 on this side. So that will help you if you put a notch right here with your pencil and then up here and then draw a line across. I think you should be just fine. And then to get the other side, of course, I'm just going to overlap these and use that like a pattern here and do my pencil. All right, here's where the patience is needed, and I think I got that in the camera. Take your pieces here that you have. Let me get all mine off to the side. So these are pretty much what you should have. The first thing I do is on the more steeper edge, I put that down just like that so it lays flush. Okay. I wish I had 2 more hands while doing this, but unfortunately I only have 2. And that's where the patience comes in. The second piece, just kind of lay right there so that they are flush. It is going to want to tumble on you. Mine probably will. This is where you want to make sure that this is going to fit in between and your 2 staircases are going to fit. And because this side, part of this, is going to glue on to side of this. So if I had another hand, that'd be great, but I don't, so I think mine are just going to fit just by looking at the gaps in between here. I'm pretty sure this one, and then if I take it on the other side here, yeah. So now I am going to do my glue. And if you need to do this in steps, glue a little, leave it, and come back, you might want to wait a good 10 minutes or 5 minutes in between. Okay, half of this step, hey, what happened here? you only want enough sticking out that is going to be for your step. So if you'd like to do your step first, your first step, put some glue and just center, put that all the way to the edge. Now we know how much needs to go underneath. And this edge is going to stop this from going in too far. So here we go. This is my least favorite of doing this because it just, whoops, that's good. And I'm going to make sure I've got room on both sides in between so that I can slip, and then I just push it all the way back flush. And you can see my sides there. Okay. With this, remember, the more curved one can go and it will rest, and you'll know it's right when you can pull it and it sits comfortably there. So we are going to put some glue on the side of this, a little bit, and I'm going to slide this in. Now, if you have a better way, please share. This is what I came up with. I'm trying to do this. All right, next side. Put my glue in there, and I'll wipe off any excess later. But right now, the main thing is me trying to get this to stay in and be nice. Moving that in so these are pretty straight. They look a little off, I think. There. All right. That's just Lucy in the background. Lucy Lou, my dog. She probably sees a squirrel in the backyard and wants to play. And she never gets them, thank gosh, but they're too quick, but they like to tease her. Now, for your step, here, you're going to want to push and hold. And this is the part where patience is needed. Okay, so my staircase is still wet and drying, but I think that you can see now. And that concludes this tutorial. If you have any questions, always feel free to email me. And there are links to my email under the comments area of this tutorial. Or hop on Facebook. You can type in Designs by Shellie and message me there. Or on Facebook, Jane S. Hobbies and Crafts. So have a great day, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial.